All right. So, how's everyone doing this evening? Sound check. 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2. Hi, Gregory Worth. Hi, Jody is cool. Jennifer Bradford. Hi, thanks for being here. Utter Nutter and DC Prime Time. I just read your comment. That's why I'm giggling. Hi, Lee. How are you? Welcome, Lee. How are you doing? Let's see who else is here. Double R. I got you. You're in the background. So happy you're here. Hi, sweet Tony. How are you? Always nice to see you. And hi, Bob Teddy. How are you doing? Where is the golden girl, Nicole? I don't know where that golden girl is. We'd all like to know that. Let's see. Hi, Kayla. How are you doing? Welcome. Nice to see you. Hello. Oh, gosh. Panoptic seeker. Got it. Like panoptic. It just took my brain a moment to to read the word. Awesome. Hi, MB Gal. How are you doing? Thank you so much. So I saw a couple of you said you've been feeling under the weather too. I think it's a back to school, new school year, new students for myself, all new everything. My kids in a public school. I'm in a different setting, but I work with a lot of students and a lot of people. And holy gosh, man. Hi, Muffy Dragon Slayer. Hope you're still here. Welcome. Always a voice of reason. Love Muffy Dragon Slayer. I love all you guys. Thank you guys for being here. Let's see, let me get down to Kes Chick 56. I was thinking about you, girl. Just real quick, I really want to email you back. I'm going to say I'm going to do it after this live stream. I'm going to try. If ever you want to come up and talk or whatever platform you want, Kes Chick 56, by the way, it's all yours. Okay, just want to put that out there right now. Hi, Green Eyes. Hi, Downtown Wonder. How are you doing? Hi, Mia M. How's it going? Nice to see you. Let's see here. So your kids are sick too, Green Eyes. Yeah, kids are sick. Everyone's sick. Adults are sick. Hi, Joan. How are you doing? How are you feeling, Joan? Awesome. Yeah, great to see you, Kezzy. Very cool. Okay, so now, my goodness. So as I've alluded to, I have been not on YouTube for a few days. When I don't upload a video or do a live stream or anything for like 5 days, something's going on. It's either that I have family stuff to attend to or I'm just, totally run down, got a cold or something. I got this super cold. We won't talk any more about that, but it's really great to see you guys. Hi, Esther. How are you doing? Awesome. Take care of that baby, Esther, for sure. Yeah, I like that too. I just picked the Lee says that's a good name for Kezzy. I like it. I'm picking it up. Hi, Kevin. I want to be a cowboy bashnik. Welcome. Oh, and Kevin, I think I made good on my text with you. I love our ideas. Kevin and I have some stuff we're going to be doing coming up. Kevin is on the channel Watts the Obsession. He's known to many of you as being the oil field expert guy, but he's so many additional things. So, if I do owe you a message, you got probably what I just said, Kevin. So please don't ever take it personally. And for those of you that do text me, in my current job, well, I don't really have a lot of time to text while I'm at my work. Additionally, I don't really get cell signal. Is that crazy? Places in the world where we don't get cell signal. It's like, what? So, yeah. So for this evening, anyhow, I've started to put together something that's informed by my professional training about how to determine if somebody's being truthful or if they're full of crap, right? There's ways to do this. You guys know this. There's scientifically proven, evidence-based ways to tell if people are being truthful or not. It just comes in handy in everyday life, right? So I put some material together as it applies to the cases that we know and love, insofar as we love to help ensure that we find complete justice for these victims, right? So I don't think I'm going to roll out with that tonight just yet, because there are some other things to talk about regarding people being truthful or people being deceptive, right? So people are being truthful, people are being deceptive as we pay attention to these cases and we consider our Nicole Kessingers of the world. We consider our front porch interview of Chris Watts. We consider all of the material that we have on video of Sammy speaking. We ask, is she being truthful? Is she being deceptive? We see Kate, Kuno, and Jagger together, and we ask, is there something more to it there? Are they being truthful? Are they being deceptive? Well, I definitely have my opinions on all of those issues. I'm sure a lot of you do too as well. Oh, Jody is cool. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, Keschik, I just wanted to tell you, anytime I owe you an email, anytime you want my channel as a platform, like I talk to Chicken Lady and stuff, just please know, absolutely 100%, like without question, okay? But there's also issues of, guys, are all of the people around the case, are the people who are talking about the case, are they being truthful? Are we being truthful? I will not disclude myself or you guys or anyone listening to this from that group of people. I'm not going to elevate myself as being better than anyone else. Certainly not. If you know anything about my channel, the channel's mission is to help ensure complete justice for the victims of this case. There are some submissions of this channel having to do with my professional endeavors, just bringing awareness to various issues that affect all of us human beings, that if they're not addressed, can turn into escalated situations that at their worst end up as a true crime scenario that other people are, trying to help solve. And I like to believe, and most of the time it is because they care, right? So hi, America First. Welcome. How are you doing? And let's see. I think I saw a couple other people I just want to say hello to. Maybe not. Let's see. Polygraph. How are you doing? Welcome. Purple Passion. Welcome. How are you doing? I love purple. Always been my favorite color. Thinking it might be yours too. So along those lines, I want to start by playing a little bit of video. It was my last uploaded video from a few days ago, having to do with a black garment, article of clothing that was found, that was reported to law enforcement and was essentially, no, I'm going to remove the word essentially, was ignored. This was when Kylie was still missing. I'm going to let the video speak for itself here. I'm going to circle back around. I'm going to come full circle with that. I have some really disgusting things that are going on YouTube that I need to expose in a way where I'm not popping views over to these people, because that's the last thing we want to do. But I think as we continue to look into this case and people proclaim new findings, new evidence, look at this, look at that, I think that these are issues that we really need to be considering. I hope you guys agree.
A mother is missing her daughter.
Tomorrow marks 2 weeks since the Truckee teenager disappeared after attending a party at a campground.
Welcome back to Watts, The Obsession. My name is Kelly, and we're talking about the Kiely Rodni case to help ensure complete justice for Kylie. It's no secret that there are a lot of questions surrounding the investigation of Kylie Rodni. Many questions have come up. The biggest is how law enforcement, how did you guys not find her after 18 agencies with 300 feet on the ground, consuming over 19,000 man hours, searched for her for over 12 days, and then Adventures with Purpose finally found her after 35 minutes of being at Prosser Lake? It's a big question, and it's a legitimate question. Along with that big legitimate question of how did you guys not find her are many additional questions, one of which has to do with a black, what appears to be bodysuit that a woman named Jessica found on August 8th, 2022. This is just 2 days after Kylie goes missing. Now, let me just explain to you why this is important. So apparently, Kylie Rodni was wearing a black bodysuit the night she went missing, the night of the teen party of 300 to 400 people at Prosser Campground. How do we know this? So, Green Eyes, that's exactly what I'm going to be addressing. I've had so many comments, like maybe I feel like 1,000 comments about the straps. I was remiss in not including in this original video a sample of some possible styles of bodysuits that that's exactly where we're heading, Green Eyes. Take a deep breath and you can think whatever you like. I just want to be clear on the information I'm putting out. That's all. Well, we see pictures of Kylie early that evening, the last known pictures of her, except perhaps pictures at the party, which have not been released. And then we also have video of Kylie's friend Sammy explaining what it was that Kylie was wearing. Let's take a listen.
Party? Is that what she was wearing?
Yeah, so that top is exactly what I saw her in. If you can see on her left side, on her hip, you can see some skin. She was wearing a black bodysuit. I remember because we went to the bathroom together, peed in the woods together a couple of times, and so that's her shirt right there. The pants were different that she wore to the party. She was wearing green Dickies pants, but that belt is definitely what she's wearing too. I remember watching her have to take it off when we were using the restroom together. We were out using the outdoor restroom. It's like popping squat, basically. So, yeah.
That was just released from the...
So now what's up with this black garment that was found on August 8th, 2022, just 2 days after Kylie went missing? Jessica, the woman that found this garment, was on a channel called Nerdy Addict, linked in the description. Great channel. I definitely suggest you check it out. They are mostly concerned with looking for missing children. I mean, what better cause is there than that? So let's take a listen to what Jessica had to say when she was on Nerdy Addict.
Sort of said, look, something seems wrong. When we came in contact with you, I actually thought you were a hoax yourself. You had come forward with a photo that looked like this, and there was a lot of chatter on social media on this is not Kylie's. And for me, look, I don't know. There's people in this case that look like Kylie, and I've mistaken for her. But when Eva pulled up her black jumper and zoomed in and started looking at how this thing was sort of thrown out and where it was, you sort of piqued our interest and started talking. And I sort of reached out and said, well, show me the receipt. And you came back and said, here it is. And I'm going to try to show that here. This is the geolocation of where that black jumper was found. We saw the service log. You sort of found this and felt that, as best as I can gracefully say it, you felt law enforcement sort of fell short in their response and their communication with you.
Yeah. So when I found it, I was just driving down a dirt road between Prosser and Boca.
Now, I just want to jump in here really quickly because we're going to address, how maybe it is the bodysuit, maybe it's not, maybe the straps are thicker, maybe they're not. I'm looking at it a little bit of a different way, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. Could be wrong right now. But I just want you to consider the credibility of this woman, Jessica, that's speaking right now, and the fact that Kylie Rodni was still missing. She had just gone missing a couple days earlier, and that really the core issue that is of concern to me is, well, of course, yes, is it hers or not? But on a more, fundamental level, that this article of clothing, that law enforcement didn't jump on it to go pick up this article of clothing. But I digress. Let's continue to listen, please.
And it was in the middle of the road, and I had just passed some undercover detectives that were knocking on a camper door. And so I saw it in the road, and of course my eyes were alert that day because I just heard about her going missing. And when they first came out, they said, she's wearing a black tank top. And so my eyes were open for that information that they had put out. This is before the surveillance came out. And so I saw it, and I got out of my car, looked at it, took a picture, and drove back to where the detectives were and told them, hey, there's a black item of clothing in the middle of the road down there. And I went down and waited for about 15, 20 minutes for them to come back. They said, okay, we'll go bag it up. And they never came, and I had to go to my job. And so I went to my job, and when I came back about a half hour later, it was gone. And then I never heard anything from them about it. And the only thing they ever mentioned was on one of their press conferences, they said nothing was ever found. Not that, something was found and it wasn't hers. It was just, they said it was fake news. Nothing was ever found. There was no tank top ever found. There was nothing found.
And I guess we knew that, right? When law enforcement missed with the vehicle, we sort of had that feeling that reinforced it. And then I think we're not going to use names, and perhaps with time, there's some serious sort of safety questions at this point with other locals that are speaking to us. I have filtered those through Sleuthy, other members of the team, but generally put out quotes. And then you talk to another person that has been in the area that does search and rescue, supposedly on day 3, allegedly on day 3. Typically this person has, this area has wildfires. There's things that happen out here. So search and rescue is a big deal out there. She sort of was wondering where the call was from law enforcement, and they sort of said, look, we don't need you. This is an investigation. Don't need your search help. All of this combined really, I am data.
Okay, I'm going to cut off Nerdy Addict. Now, I just want to say, Nerdy Addict, guys, great channel. They are mostly, as I said in this video, concerned with missing and possibly missing exploited children. I have to watch more of their videos, honestly. Every video I've watched of theirs has been well vetted, accurate information. They have a lot of, DC, you'd love this, cellular experts or looking at digital technology. Really great, solid channel. I give them total kudos. Please go check them out. I would suggest subscribing. I give them nothing but, thumbs up all over the place. Now, just to address the issue that I was remiss in addressing in my first video that has received a plethora of comments that I see you guys are commenting right here. And listen, you guys might be totally correct when you're saying like, it's not the jumpsuit. The jumpsuit. Now that word sounds really funny in my head as I'm saying it, DC, as we were talking about it, has thicker straps, possibly, guys. I'm not saying it does, that is not the case.
There was no tank top ever found. There was nothing found.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so now what I did not include in the initial video is the woman who is calling in, Jessica, the woman who found the article of clothing. She said that these 2 articles of clothing here, these brown items, belong to her daughter. And hi, Fluffy Muppet, by the way, welcome. Good to see you here. And she said that and again, I definitely suggest you go and check this out on Nerdy Addict's channel, support Nerdy Addict, good stuff all around. So she said that her daughter, manipulated, so to speak, these articles of clothing, one being a strap bottom bodysuit. We're calling it a snap bottom bodysuit, right? And the other one being a tank top. So you can see here, I'm not going to have to spoon feed it to you. So hi, Rock Like a Cob, welcome. And yes, so we're addressing the question. Rock Like a Cob says the bodysuit she's wearing seems to be spaghetti straps. No, 100%. I totally agree with you. So again, I'm not saying that the article that was found was definitely Kylie Rodni's. And I certainly do not want to push that if that was not the case. Absolutely, positively not. To me, the extremely alarming takeaway from Jessica's story, as she told the channel Nerdy Addict, was that Kylie Rodni was just a couple days missing, and law enforcement didn't jump on the chance to go recover a piece of women's clothing that is on a trail between Prosser Reservoir and Boca. So I guess the exact location where this is found is, of course, also critical. Now, going back to the bazillion comments, and they might be right, all bazillion of them, saying, oh, it couldn't have been her tank top, or it couldn't have been the jumpsuit she was wearing. The jumpsuit she was wearing had spaghetti straps. Definitely did. We see that in the picture, right? But these are 2 articles of clothing from Jessica's daughter. One is a tank top. One is a snap bottom bodysuit. So I have had several of these in the past. I was looking for them in my closed drawers the other day, but again, I wasn't feeling well. I wasn't gonna put too much effort into it because I've been really like crawling. Didn't find any that I could like hold up and show you. But they're kind of like almost like, I don't know, thong style material, and they snap at the bottom. So you don't have anywhere along the straps or in the upper back part where you have something that you have to hook up, where there's going to be some kind of like a bulgy material if you're trying to get a certain kind of sleek silhouette look, I guess it would be, right? I'm sure there's other purposes too, but this is just, I guess, what I'm thinking if I'm going to pick this kind of a bodysuit over something else. So when the woman who called into Nerdy Addict telling you about her finding this article of clothing and calling law enforcement just a couple days after Kylie Rodni was missing, and they straight up ignored her daughter, kind of bunched together a tank top and a snap bottom bodysuit in the fashion you see right here. And this is how I was originally looking at that article of clothing. So it's like that. Let me go back a little bit. And again, this is just for clarification because I want people to be clear on what it is I put out. And I don't want you to think I'm trying to push anything that's not like accurate. So you see this kind of top left part. It looks like it could very well be like the strap part of a tank top sort of twisted up, right? It also does appear to me, based on where the tag is located and how the material is sort of manipulated there, it looks to me like it could also be a snap bottom bodysuit. Ta-da! So again, guys, the purpose of me explaining this again is just to clarify things because I'm blown away at the number of questions and comments I got about this bodysuit, jumpsuit. Is it a snap bottom? Is it spaghetti straps? All of these things we don't know for sure because this is what we see from the picture that Jessica took. We trust the metadata because she provided it and she is a credible source and the metadata doesn't lie. So we know that this was found 2 days after Kylie went missing. We know from her account, and I believe her because she comes across as nothing but a credible source, that she reported this is that she found this item again right between Prosser Lake Reservoir and Boca, and nobody came to pick it up, to bag it properly as evidence, to do whatever it is they do with evidence, possible evidence afterwards. Collect the data on it, the details, possibly take samples, analyze it. We know that things just in that process alone from the Watts case can go terribly wrong. You can have all the evidence in the world collected, and if you don't analyze it, it doesn't add up to much now, does it? Right? So I think from the Watts case and other cases, if anything, what I've learned, I'll speak for myself, I don't know about you, is collecting the evidence when it is readily available is step number 1. If you're law enforcement, if you've taken an oath to protect and serve, I'm just saying, maybe that's going to be your first priority, right? We know from the mess ups that have happened and the corruption that we've seen unfold that even when evidence is collected properly or not properly, it's right there in your hot little hands. Sometimes the very agency that's running the investigation will refuse to actually have that evidence analyzed in their state-of-the-art labs. Now, what a sin is that, right? Bottom line here, guys, to me, and the point that I really wanted to get across was, how could law enforcement not have run to pick up any evidence? to have found any breadcrumb that could have led to Kylie Rodni at that point. So let's see. Oh, so this is good. This is good information. Thank you, Kaz. She says, Kylie's mother has one like that with thicker straps. There's a photo of them together. So as I was just, when I realized I wasn't going to find an actual physical bodysuit to show you, and I was just looking through pictures online, there are so many different styles, so many, and thank you for that, Kaz check. So many thicknesses of straps. Are they snap bottom? Do they snap in the upper back? Do they snap on the side? Does each strap have a snap? Are they spaghetti? Are they strapless altogether? Are they, there's just a million different styles. So really, it's kind of crazy to me that, there's even so much conversation. Hi, Sharon Norris. How are you doing? About, what style of a bodysuit is it? Law enforcement just should have been all over that. That's all. End of story, in my opinion. Hi, Jackie K. No, not in my opinion. They should have been all over it. It's not my opinion. That's just how it is. I mean, come on. There's a 16-year-old girl missing at this time. Hi, Jackie K. How are you? Welcome. Hi, Sarah T. How are you doing? Welcome. Let's see. Who else is here? Hi, Kanai's life / football. My life is half football right now. My son is going to be 14 next month, and he's playing football. And I live in upstate New York. It may as well be Texas, DC prime time, the way we are with football. But welcome. Hi, Trippy Hippie. How are you doing? Welcome. Let's see. Okay, now. DC, did you want to come up and say anything about this, or did anyone else want to come up and say anything about this or anything else before I move on? Apologize if I have the sniffles. I'm getting over a horrendous cold. Hi, she ran calling wildfire. Calling wildfire. I'm envisioning that a lot of different ways. Very cool name, though. I like it. Come on up, girl. Joan Bradley says, I hope that taking a long time means that they're doing a thorough job. I certainly hope so too. Friday Night Lights, baby. That's right, Kevin. Kevin wants to hear. Kevin, I want to be a cowboy. Bashnik wants to hear from you, DC. If anyone else would like to come up, you're welcome to. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to bring you up. How you doing, DC? Welcome.
Hi, Kelly. Oh my gosh, I feel so bad that you've been sick. We've been sick too.
We've been sick. I know. Right? It's like the back to school thing, right? It just happened.
Ugh.
I think.
And it wasn't even the little prime times this time. It was high school prime time.
No. I don't really even have any little Watts the Obsessions around anymore because my son is almost 14 and I work mostly with high schoolers now. So yeah, I didn't even think about that. I don't even get the little one exposures. Yikes.
Oh man. We get sick so much.
I know. Kids.
But when you're sick in bed, you have nothing to do but study true crime, right? And
That's right.
And I looked into this bodysuit yesterday and I was trying to reverse Google image search the tag that was so prominently displayed on Jennifer. Is it Jennifer?
Jessica.
On her Jessica. I'm sorry, Jessica, if you're listening. But I couldn't reverse Google image it, but to me it looks like if you look at the tag it says XFit or XFW something. So in my interpretation, because the straps are so thick, I feel like it's a men's tank top.
Oh, might be, huh? I didn't even notice that. I tried to do the reverse Google image got nowhere, and the
So
original
hard
photo
from
has
an
a
iPhone.
pretty high resolution. I didn't even think, you know what? I did not have the faith. This shows the power of faith. I did not have the faith that if I tried to enhance it, that I would see that much. So good for you for checking that out.
No, I had to like hold it far away from my face, and it was all like OD. But
Oh
to
man.
me, it seems like a men's athletic tank top or a wrestling top to me. I may be
Yeah.
wrong. I don't see any snaps. I don't think it's a bodysuit. I feel like it's just a non-starter. But
It might be a non-starter as far as it doesn't belong to Kylie. It doesn't belong to Sammy or anyone else. But
there's a
yes.
but.
That is like, and I guess I didn't do the job that I wanted to in conveying the but. The fact that law enforcement just turned their head is mind-boggling to me. I mean, it could say property of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't really care. It's an article of clothing. It's black article of clothing on a road that a missing 16-year-old was known to be on. She was missing as of, 2 days ago. You know, people had seen her. There's still a chance of finding her. We all know every hour that passes, the chances of finding, especially children alive and well, decrease, right? So why aren't they all over everything?
Well, that's the thing, Kelly. They're not all over the fact that the laptop was found.
It was. And wait, just hold that thought. I just want to say, just to bring the point home, I feel like you need to experience what I've experienced reading through all these comments. Green Eye says, it looks more like a women's garment. There you go. Then Joan Bradley says, I see snaps. You know, this is like, it was making me crazy. I was like, we see everything. But the point is, they should have bagged that baby properly and considered it possible evidence.
I don't see snaps. I wish I saw snaps. I looked for snaps. Trust me, I wanted to see snaps, but I didn't see them. It was a non-starter for me. And believe me, I wanted to see them. I did.
And then rock like a cob. See, you guys are getting a little view into my world of reading through all the comments. Says the tag is in a weird place to be a guy's tank, in my opinion. That's what I was thinking too. I thought it was a weird place to begin with to be a tank at all, unless it was one of those women's tanks with like a kind of athletic shelf bra sort of thing built in. But then I don't know. I mean, you can stare at this thing for a long time. Point is, someone in law enforcement should have been staring at this thing and figuring out and go, you know what? Look, this is a men's top. We've got like men's chest hairs. That's all we're getting off this thing. But we better like file it away because there's a missing girl. You know,
Here's the thing. To that, yes, I'll let you like try to reverse Google image this tank top tag like I did, and I'll allow you to do that. But I couldn't find it, and I'm sorry, and I didn't see snaps. But the fact that Kelly is bringing up that law enforcement is just not. They're not responsive in this case. How long did it take them to show up to find the laptop? How long there's so many fumbles. If we're talking Friday Night Lights, Kelly, this is a terrible game.
They're fumbling all over the place.
It's sad, and like I hope that not all law enforcement is acting like this. It just makes me sad and
it's terrible. And Esther, I'm so glad, Esther. I'm so glad that you hopped on my wavelength. Esther says, agreed. It should have been tagged and tested for DNA. So disappointed law enforcement didn't bother to collect this. That could have been the whole video. Exactly. Yeah. You know.
Well, I believe Jessica.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm bad with names right now. I'm sick. But I believe that when she left work and came back, it was gone. And then she just never heard anything again. So
right.
It's just
she said she waited for a while. She left. She came back such a time later. It was gone. Yeah, that's true.
Well, hopefully they tested it, right? Or not. But how much faith do we have right now that they're going to do things right with what we know about this investigation so far. Like, we have a high standard in the YouTube true crime community. We want things to be done to the letter, to the T, based on mistakes that we've seen in the past, Kelly.
Right.
And
Yes. And our high standard is a reflection of, of the laws and the philosophies that are, that our justice system has been based upon, with these crazy that we have expectations that we've laid out for ourselves. Yes, we should maintain those high standards.
we would hope that. And
Yeah.
the fact is, when the people in this community, and it's a small community, go home at night, they are with their families and they have ulterior obligations to their families who may have been at that party that night. And I'm just
Right.
saying, like, it's a small, tight-knit community, and it just gives me such weird vibes, Kelly.
No,
And I'm
I
not,
know. Yeah.
and I don't like to dwell on that because it's not based in fact or evidence, but it gives me weird vibes. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I shared with you that I grew up in a small community. My dad was the district attorney here the entire time I was growing up. And I have had relatives in the legal system as far as being attorneys, judges, et cetera, and also law enforcement. So being someone who respects all of those people very much and maintains many of the ideals I have about justice, which I'm going to continue to maintain and I'm proud of, largely because of them, I, and on the flip side, have also seen the scary side of it, right? And I know that
Well,
that definitely
yeah.
does exist. Yeah.
There are people that don't maintain that ideal
Right.
for complete justice. And I believe that may be a factor in this case. And it makes me sad, Kelly. It makes
I
me
know.
sad.
It's so sad. And Jeff, I'm sorry, Gregory says, that doesn't look like any bro tank I have. Thanks, Gregory. And Panoptic says about the tank top article of clothing, says, better the article to have been picked up and ruled out rather than missed altogether and missing a critical clue. So that is exactly it. What we're finding is, the channel is Watts the Obsession, as you probably know. We've studied the Watts case extensively inside and out. And one of the morals of the story that I think most people can agree upon, well, that the rational minded among us can agree upon, is, the evidence that was not collected and or analyzed at the time, it was an absolute missed opportunity, because a lot of the situations, scenarios, environments that you would need to recreate under certain circumstances to replicate an experiment that would even get you even close to being like an analysis of the reality as it was, if that were done in real time, that can't be done anymore. Survey 319, it's gone. Like, there's all of these conditions that you can't replicate. Once you miss that opportunity, it is gone. Yeah. And that's part of the sadness.
Luckily, we here in this community are holding law enforcement to a higher standard. Because if we can see it as lay people with regular jobs in our, respective communities, if we can see it and we can see how this should play out based on other cases that we have studied, like, it should be second nature for them to do things right the first time.
That's right.
And it's sad. But to me, this tank top is a non-starter. It's not the tank top. The straps are thicker. And I don't see any snaps. I don't. I wanted to see snaps. I did. I looked for snaps. And I studied that tag, and it's a CrossFit or it's a wrestling tank top, in my opinion. I may be wrong, but I looked at it for a really long time because I was like, wait a minute, what's with this tank top?
Yeah, I know. It is curious. And now I want to read a comment from Green Highs there, but don't go too far away from that thought, because I'm going somewhere with this, because I want to show you what happens when law enforcement leaves a vacuum for people to say whatever the fuck they want. Bad things happen. And I think that sometimes they really need to tighten up that vacuum. I want to read this comment by Green Eyes here. And welcome to everyone. Welcome, Midge, and everyone that just came in. Green Eye says, in Australia this week, the whole DNA lab has been brought to a hearing as DNA incorrectly tested. This will lead to mistrials and misarrests. It's a total mess. So I think what you're saying is, you make one wrong step because, in the process of doing an investigation, it has protocol. It's supposed to be, you're supposed to go step by step, and everything should be meticulous without missing a step, right? You miss one of those steps, you're sloppy in one of those steps, things can all go to hell, right? I mean, so seriously, exactly, says, still should be bagged and tagged. Exactly. I mean,
Well,
it's just.
and there's so many different agencies that were tagged into this investigation. It's like, who's running the command post? Do we know? Do we know all of the evidence and all of the whereabouts and timelines and everything that's going into this? Or is it just like a free for all and we'll sort it out later kind of thing? I don't know.
There's been, I mean, just and I wonder some of these same questions, and just, kind of following this sort of developing true crime situation as it's developing, as I have with others in the past, as I know many, most of you maybe have, it doesn't seem as though investigators, law enforcement is reporting out that clear line of command, chain of command, as they oftentimes do. I mean, we know, to the best of our knowledge, for a while, we were putting a teen who was a questionable friend of Kylie's, maybe not friend of Kylie's, out there in a kind of public relations position for teen to teen meetings. And I don't know.
Well, my thoughts with regards to that person is, she did a great job, right? And it kind of seems to me like she doesn't have any guilt, and she's kind of dealing with this in her own way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the questions that a lot of people do about this person. I don't know. And I didn't have a lot of questions about the ex-boyfriend person that a lot of people did. It just
Mm-hmm.
didn't dig deep to me. I think what happened to Kylie was, it was as a result of someone we may not know about yet.
Okay.
That's kind of where I'm leaning with this.
So you're saying if there, I'm not clear if you're
Yeah,
saying yes, there was foul play, or you think there wasn't, but if there
I
was
think
foul play, it was from somebody outside the friend circle.
I do.
Okay.
I do. I believe that maybe she was going to camp out there. And if we look back at Sammy's interviews, she thought she was going to camp out there that night. And yeah, there were all kinds of people there that night. And I think that we need to look broader than the friend circle.
Yeah.
And we need to kind of take a nod from her mom in this instance, because moms kind of know, right? They have
Right.
that
Yeah.
instinct. And there was probably somebody there that was not part of the friend circle that may have been known to Kylie or offered to give her a ride and didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get that read off of the friends that we know about. That's just my opinion. I know
Yeah.
everybody's going to disagree with me on that right now, but that's just my opinion. I don't get that read off of them. Any of them.
I personally, though, I have not been suspicious of Jagger. I just haven't, with the footage we have of him or the statements we have of him, doing what I do with watching people or their statements, I haven't found anything that I find to be suspicious. And there are people that are so much better at doing those kinds of things in myself. I also just intuitively, as human being, watching another human being speak, I just have not found him to be suspicious. I don't think for myself, I don't think there is enough to be heard from Kate Kuno or video of Kate Kuno to make that determination.
No, I think it's weird. I think
Yeah.
we need to look outside these 4 people at the other 296 people that were at this party. I think we need to, as a community, kind of look outside that at the different. I don't think it was these 4. I just don't. And I don't think the mother would allow these 4 to attend her celebration of life if that were the case.
I don't know. See, I have a different, and now I certainly, let me say this, and thank you, Downtown Wonder. I can't wait to check it out. Thank you very much. If anybody else wants to come up on panel, by the way, I'm putting the link out there right now. I want to say this about the mother. I do not think the mother has done anything to harm her child. I do not think she's part of this crime. I do not think that she's covering. I don't think there's anything like that. I do think that the mother's response, and I don't even want to go too deep into it because I don't want to drive that. It was a little, it was weird.
It was a little weird, but she's a mother and she will not allow people into her circle that are going to be snakes. I don't think that she would allow that, or law enforcement in this tight knit community would allow that. If she's saying accident, well, yeah, I disagree with that. I don't think it was an accident. I'm sorry, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how much easier that may make it in the interim, right?
Right.
For her. I don't think that, but I don't think that her instincts would allow these 4 people that were friends of Kylie's or close relations of her to be this close to her in the grieving or the celebration phase of it.
So the other, I guess just the other way that I understand what you're saying. For myself, the other way that I look at that is it's possible that she, having just lost her child, of course she's going to be in an amazingly vulnerable state. Is she in such a vulnerable state that her ability to decipher kind of the energy, the vibe of the people around her, is it being skewed by her sheer vulnerability at this point?
My read on her is that she is more in tune with the vibes of others than most people. And I feel like she's more in tune to that. And that's just that's not based on anything in fact. That's just my observation as a mother.
Yeah.
And I feel like she would not allow that. But as far as her saying this is an accident, which I haven't heard her say, right? It's all conjecture at this point. I haven't heard her say that. Mm-hmm. But I feel like she has to maintain herself in this community. She's under a lot of financial strain with the selling of this lodge. There's a lot of different factors that could possibly, I don't know.
So that makes me wonder, is that why she's so community? I don't know. I guess I just don't find her to be really, I find her to be a little disingenuous. And I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. Could be wrong about this one. That's just been my read on her. And I don't think she did anything. I don't think she harmed her child. Please don't anybody think that. And I don't know the woman. I could be totally wrong, but there's something I just can't piece together about her, and I just don't know what it is. I don't feel like I could make a conclusive statement that I'd be like, yeah, that's it. Like I'm not there. You know what I mean?
I get that, Kelly, and I've been there, and I've thought about that too, 100%.
Yeah.
But I had to kind of dig deep, on a different level, to understand where she's coming from.
Maybe you're taking too much cold medication.
It could be. It could
I'm just
be.
kidding.
Kelly.
I'm just kidding.
It could be. But I don't get that read from her that she would allow anybody into her circle that was going to be a snake, although I could be wrong. I'm familiar with the Skylar niece case. I know
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
I do, and I have like the practical true crime, like these things happen kind of opinion about it, but then I have a different read on her, which is, I mean, it's probably not popular at this point, but I don't think that she would. And maybe I'm giving her too much credit, I don't know. But as a mother, I don't think she would allow people that she thought had anything to do with her daughter's death.
Well, it's one of the wonderful things we love
Yeah.
about you. You tend to relate to people like as that on that heart level as a mother, and I think that's awesome. But wait, let me just ask a couple questions here, sweetheart, because I
Yes.
don't know the answer to this.
I
Maybe you
don't.
know. So Abby Kenyon asked, "Is the FBI still involved?" You know, Abby, I was asking myself that question. Oh, I don't know. I guess over the weekend while I was home sick, googling stuff. And I could not find a clear answer. This is what I did find, and maybe I wasn't looking in the right place. I'm not my sharpest right now. I saw, articles, reports that were speaking of the FBI as in, present tense being involved right now. Just up until about the time that Adventures with Purpose got involved. And after that, they're spoken about as it's a past tense, like they were involved, or at least, does anyone know the answer to that question?
I can kind of speak to that from like a Watts perspective. In these kind of investigations where there's a missing minor and there's like
Yes.
a national
FBI will
heart
always be
situation.
involved.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it with Gabby Petito. We saw it with, anything that crosses state lines or has to do with like national.
A missing minor.
Yeah.
Missing minor that doesn't cross state lines. So crossing state lines or a missing minor, either of those things are going to necessarily involve the FBI.
They're going to be involved, but once it's determined where the minor ended up and how, I believe that jurisdiction will pass off to the place where the minor was found. And
now, I believe that's usually the case as well, but okay.
I haven't seen any FBI involvement since she was found either, Kelly.
Okay. So then Jackie K says, everyone is seeing how mismanaged this is. Who's higher up to hold them accountable? So I'm just kind of like pulling these questions that are related together. Yeah. So, gosh, unfortunately, and it's so interesting to me that question is even asked, and I totally understand why it's asked. It's a reasonable question. The way that our justice system and the way our legal system and our law enforcement system is we know it's a system of checks and balances. We didn't create it so those who are have made the oath to protect and serve the public in their communities have to be babysat by a big sister or the person next door, or have to be looked over by another agency. We assume that the agencies we build in our communities, in our states, and in our country, if you're in the United States, and I know every other country who can access YouTube has some version of it, we assume that these agencies and these institutions are going to stand on their own and they are not going to fall under the weight of themselves. Unfortunately, we've seen time and time again that is not the case, that ideal is not the case, and that they don't hold their own and that they do fall under the weight of themselves. So it's an interesting question to ask, and I don't really know if there is an answer other than in this case, for the jurisdiction or the community, whatever community is under that jurisdiction, to hold them accountable. So here's really where we enter into this catch-22 of the community policing itself, right? That you're touching upon, definitely DC prime time, and I'm seeing, time and time again in comments.
Well, right now, the jurisdiction would fall to the Nevada County Sheriff's Department for the investigation, until which it is determined that a crime has been committed, and then it would fall under the jurisdiction of the district attorney's office, for which there is no checks or balances. The DA is an elected official, and they have unwielding absolute power, as we have seen
That's
in
right.
these
Yeah.
investigations. So the DA has absolute power once all of the investigation falls on them to determine who to charge with what and when.
Okay. All right. Very good. See, we love DC Primetime, wealth of knowledge. Here's a great question. Let me put it out to anybody. Answer me this question because it's not clear to me. Purple Passion asks, but the mom and Jagger are mad at Adventures with Purpose. Why? Do you have any thoughts on that, my darling?
I do.
Do share.
In Adventures with Purpose, and I am completely pro Adventures with Purpose. I understand their mission. But there were some creators that paused on specific points of their video under the water where you could see Kylie and you can see her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was hard to watch.
Okay.
I didn't see it at first, but when some people went and paused on those specific, and I'm not going to mention those creators, right? But if you were the mother and that was your child under the water and you could see their face and you could see their outline, it is excruciating as a mother. And I might
But
not
is
be.
that her? And I don't mean to be insensitive what you're saying. I mean, if that is true, that is I pretty terrible. My thought on from what as far as I investigated on that I didn't think that was necessarily true, that you could actually see images. So if that is true, is that why is that? I mean, are they saying that's why I'm upset with these people? Or are we just assuming as a mother,
No.
of course, that's why I'd be upset, right?
Well, I believe the official word, what they're saying is that the tow truck driver is completely lying. And I'm roadside Nick. He's not a tow truck driver because he drove a van. But they're saying that that's completely unfounded, that never happened, et cetera, et cetera. But how would they know? As a mother, right, it would be the images of the child through the window, under the water, through the glass, that would just drive me insane.
See, and I agree with you if that were the case, but I think oh, you're so sweet, DC. I just want to like give you a hug and like a little cold get better pack in a blankie. You're really you're really coming and relating as the mom, which I understand because that is the biggest role that we have. But I mean, I have to ask now, if that were true, if we were like, oh my God, like they released footage where you could actually see the victim. Now, first of all, that would be incredibly just in poor taste. I think that would be probably bad for their reputation and whatnot. But that would just be, if nothing else, extremely insensitive. I am having a hard time.
They blurred it out.
Okay.
So
you can't unblur what is blurred. So this is a conversation I've heard with, they wouldn't make that mistake with a level of technological. And I know you're feeling really like, like heartbound on this. So I don't want to, I'm not trying to like argue with you about this.
I'm sorry.
Honey, don't apologize. It's a beautiful thing about you. But with a level of technological, I know, oh my God, we have to have this. We have to have the human perspective. If nothing else, if not that, then what else, But with the level of technological savvy that these guys, that their team has, I just find it hard to believe that mistake would be made. Hi, Capricious. Hi, John. How are you guys doing? Hi, Misty Street. Yeah, I just find it hard to believe.
And I love Michelle After Dark because she has.
I love her too. Yeah.
In the UK, she said, "I've unblurred it. I will never show it." And I don't want to say the names.
Okay, that gives it some credibility. Don't because we don't want anybody going there.
But
if Michelle After Dark said that she could unblur it, I guess I give the whole idea some credibility because She is an extremely incredible
If
woman
that is
with a credible channel. Michelle After Dark is who I'm talking about. Everybody go check her out if you haven't. So I don't know.
There are channels that have showed it, and not even unblurred, just paused in the right place where you can make out the face of the child. I mean, that is someone's child. That is Lindsay's child, and I get that.
And
And I
listen,
think
and no,
that
I
was
don't mean.
a
Go
misstep
ahead.
by Adventures with Purpose. Although I'm completely on board with their mission, I'm a member of their channel. I believe in what they do, but they're everybody makes mistakes, right?
Well, listen, that is a really big mistake. And I mean, I would have to I'd have to take a breath and step back on a lot of things if this is the case. Now, and listen, again, I don't want to refute you or anyone else about this, especially anyone that feels emotional about it, because, the way you feel is the way you feel, and everyone has that right. But I just have to say, when we're looking at underwater footage with the clarity in which it can be viewed, because I've definitely seen that time and time again, and again, and DC, I'm saying this because I know you know me well enough to know how I'm saying this. Like, if we're thinking that we can make out a face, like an outline of face, but the footage is otherwise pretty hard to make out, right? It just makes me think of all of the things our mind can create when we look at the footage of, who'sy whatsy walking out of the garage and the pixels. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just having a hard. I've got to.
It's the
look into this
internet,
more.
Kelly. It's the internet. It's the Wild West.
Of
And
course.
perception is reality. And if her mother perceived that may be the answers to the question as to why she hasn't thanked Adventures with Purpose.
Well,
Because their
go ahead.
job is to sensationalize to an extent as to where they get the funding to continue their mission. I mean, they have a mission, and their mission is pure, and I believe in it. But I think there was a misstep, an oversight there. And
it's possible.
If things were done perfectly, maybe that would have been just cut out altogether. And I believe if they had to do it again, they would have done it that way. But
Yeah.
Time will tell,
Wow.
Kelly. Just my opinion.
No,
It's just
absolutely.
my
And Lee
opinion.
says, and I agree, Lee says, at DC relates well to moms, lots of empathy. Absolutely. One of the many reasons we love her. Now, and some people, of course, are saying, oh, AWP wouldn't do that. I need to personally look further into this. Holly Hudson says, it reminds us, thank you for reminding me of this, Holly, very much. And I think Has Chick said something similar. She said she was mad she wasn't directly contacted by them. So that's ringing a bell to me. Please see, what do I take for my cough medicine? I don't even know what I'm taking right now. I've got a cold brain. That's right. And then Keschik said, I meant the mother was not contacted first. And then, of course, there is,
from my understanding, it was
Go ahead.
the mother's husband's family.
Right. That's what I
that
heard
was
too.
contacted.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the grandfather, her own father, and her ex-husband, Kylie's dad, were on the beach before the detectives. So, I mean, in my opinion, AWP had that nailed. Like they notified the family to the fullest extent of their ability. I'm not saying that I fault AWP with that at all. I don't think that's what it is.
But it seems like from what the mom has said that if we were to go on her words, it seems like that's what she said. I don't know. This is, yes, everyone, please be respectful in chat. Thank you for reminding everyone, utter nutter. I don't know if there's a reason or not, but everyone, please be respectful in chat. On this channel, we like to give people a lot of range and liberty to say what it is they believe, what it is they think, to put the questions out there that they, in their own minds, need to be worked out in order for this system of beautiful balance to work out. We do need to maintain respect for one another, for the victims, and for the victims' families. So, hi, Hochi Winner. Welcome. How are you doing? Let me just get down to current comments here is what I'm trying to say. I am putting up the link if anybody does want to come up here. Oh, Muffy Dragon Slayer. She fell asleep. You're so sweet.
I do want to say, like, on the flip side of that, Kelly, before I let you go, because I got to work tomorrow, that on the flip side, that AWP has documented this in a way that will help keep law enforcement accountable. And I do want to give them credit for that, because we're getting this in real time. Maybe mistakes won't be made in this case as far as true justice and people's ties to their community and things like that. I hope that as the public seeing this unfold in real time, minute by minute, like just everything that comes out with the best minds in true crime on this case, that we will be able to make a difference. So I just wanted to say that before I left. I do empathize with the mom, but I see the value in what AWP has put out from like a scientific and transparency standpoint. So I see both sides of it.
Yes, and thank you for bringing up all sides. I think it's important to look at all sides of it. So, and thank you as always, DC. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I mean, please support them, because there are a lot of people for whom they have brought answers, and that's their mission. And they can't be dragged down with every single case. They have to like keep going forward and bringing answers to as many people as they have the skill set to help.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that before I left, Kelly. Have a good night.
Thank you, darling. Thank you for coming up here as always. Send my love to the kitties. Awesome. All right. So now, there is, another side of it, and, let's see, McKee, is it McKee Sport Rose Garden? Sorry, Sport Rose Garden. I'm sorry. If you haven't been on here the whole time, I have a really bad cold, including my eyes being blurry, but I don't know if I could pronounce that anyway, but I'm sorry and welcome. Says, as a mother, any mother, do you sympathize with the mom letting her go to the party? So, this has been brought up. I've heard a few conversations about this issue, and, parenting is a personal choice, right? I mean, it's hard. I guess what I'm saying is, me personally, it's hard for me to even get in on that argument. My son is going to be turning 14 next month. I don't think that I would allow him to do such things, but I also, guys, I work with teenagers every day, and I also know to some degree, teenagers are going to do what they're going to do, right? And it's like, do you always, throw down the hard line, or you try to manage well the relationship with your teenager? This is a hard one, right? But McKee Sports Rose Garden, things that you're touching upon here, like the honor and silence, and some of those statements, personally, for me, they just didn't come off right. But it could be an emotional response. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's parents in chat, if you think you would have let your child go to that party, type 1 in chat. If you think you would not have allowed your child to go to that party, 16-year-old child, type a 2 in chat if you'd like to participate. I know there's a way to do polls in chat now. I haven't found that yet, though. Got to find that. But yeah, if you think you'd let your kid who's 16 go to that party, type 1. I guess we're working with hindsight being 2020, right? If you think you wouldn't, nope, I would not let my 16-year-old go to a party where there's going to be that many people, that much drinking, type a 2 if you're willing to participate. Or was she 17? Hi, Princess Megan Elsa. How are you doing? Welcome. Let's see. Hi, Deborah Mullins. How are you? I was trying to read I couldn't make sense of that comment. Reveal, right. Yeah. So Abby's just, bringing home the point. She feels that the video footage was blurred by AWP, and AWP has more info and videos, which they cannot reveal right now, is all three of, Nick, Doug, and Jared have made abundantly clear. I mean, I think what has become more clear to us in time as far as Adventures with Purpose is concerned is that they are just blatantly telling us, guys, we've got more. I think they're getting a little anxious to reveal what they have. This is just my take on it. From everything I've been watching and what it sounds like to me is that they're growing increasingly dissatisfied with the way the official investigation is going. And imagine what they do know. I know they've used the number 10% and 90% several times that, we have discussed, we put out there 10% of what it is we know, 90% of it, 90% of, information on this topic or, just the whole Kiely Rodni case as a whole, we cannot even comment about, they say, because of the pending investigation. So depending on what it is they know, and I think our minds all go there, and we all have an idea of what we think that might be, it must be increasingly difficult for these guys to not speak out the way that they feel compelled to. Yeah, so Princess Megan also says, I think you were saying 17, wanted my own independence, my own space. I think you're talking about, the problem or the question of, do you say no 16 or 17-year-old child, you cannot go to such a party, or do you grant them permission? Kids are going to, they're going to do what they want to do. The will of a teenager is strong. I don't know. So, okay. So here, thank you guys for putting in your vote. So most of you guys are saying, no, you would not have allowed that. And again, some being honest, putting in that one, thank you. Hi, V. Marshy, welcome. Depends on maturity and responsibility of the child. That, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, right. There's so many factors. You guys are wisely pointing out that, we don't know. Hindsight's 2020. I mean, God, knowing what would happen, I think it could be easier to lean towards two. I appreciate Tony's honesty as always. She says, one, I would trust my daughter. And, given what we do know about Kylie and the kind of girl that she was, she seemed like that really responsible young person, young adult who you would want to trust, right? Yeah, and exactly. Capricious TR says 3. They do what they want. Yeah. Oh, that's very fair-minded of you, but you have good judgment, Downtown Wonder. I'm sure you know. I'm sure you know. Yep, and there is always this very good thing to consider that, let's see, Patricia Padilla points out to us, and welcome, Patricia. The more shelter the kid is, the more they're going to want to go and do something, and they'll just sneak out and do it. It's best to give them the right tools for the right situation. Yeah. So it's really, looking in from the outside, that's a really hard call for any of us to make. Wow. Oh, let's see who's coming up here. So we've got Sis Vicious. All right. So let's welcome Sis Vicious to the screen. How you doing, Sis Vicious?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome. It's great to have you up here. Welcome to the channel and chat.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you're streaming because I was trying to find something to listen to. I'm driving around my savage little 3-year-old trying to get her to chill and hopefully go to sleep. So
oh my goodness, I remember doing that. My stepsister, oh my God, she did that with both of her kids. I work with now I work with a number of different kinds of students with various things going on, some of them being on the autism spectrum. Both of her children ended up being on that autism spectrum. She swore, and that doesn't mean anything about being able to get your kid to go to sleep or not, but I don't know, I'm even disclosing this, but she swore that her children would eventually not go to sleep unless you pop those little adorable cutie pies in the back seat and drove them around. So I was like, girlfriend, you just signed yourself up to, I don't know how many years of driving these kids around. They're both like, they're 17 and 18 now. And I still think they won't go to sleep unless you take them for a drive. But
it's so funny. This like just started when she turned 3. She was always the best sleeper. So I'm just like grasping at straws, trying to crack the code. But anyway.
Does it have anything to do with, my gosh, my son, I only have one kid. He's going to be 14 next month. Does it have anything to do with, is there a teething situation at this point or anything like that?
No, she has all her teeth. She 1,000% not what I was expecting to be talking about.
I know,
no,
right?
She has all her teeth. It's just so funny. It's like she's the sweetest ever. But she just turned 3 and it's like all hell broke loose. Like everything I was used to, just all routine schedules.
Well,
just
I definitely do remember
overnight.
that. I was like
So
terrible
weird.
2s, hells no, terrible 3s. I'm sorry, Mama. You said she just turned 3.
Yeah. Yep.
Aw.
So we're in it now.
Oh
But,
my goodness.
Yeah, I just had some thoughts, and I wanted to comment on the previous person on stream. She has the softest, sweetest voice, but she said
DC
something.
Prime Time.
Yeah, she said something that really made me think, and you know, I don't disagree that sometimes with different creators and you have these cases that just really explode.
Found and it wasn't.
And I think the lack of information sometimes by law enforcement is what I want to say it creates it, but I think it exacerbates it. And I'm 100% on board with protecting an investigation, whether that's finding out something's accidental or finding out that there was perhaps foul play. But with that just very, very minimal breadcrumbs that are dropped, it leads people to speculate. And I don't know if you can agree with this or not, but where I fall into, you know, the speculation category is you see these fumblings by law enforcement, and you know, the Watts case, perfect example, Gabby Petito, in this case. And I imagine, God forbid, something awful were to happen to me. Is this what I can expect from law enforcement? And that's where I think the demand for answers comes in, because yes, it is, you know, I understand saying, this is my daughter, this is my story. That is true. But what happens to the next person? What happens if, God forbid, it's my family? Then I don't want this level of fumbling to be the case in my situation, God forbid. And I don't think that it's wrong for people to demand these types of answers and accountability for how is this missed? Where's the explanation? You can't just not speak on those types of things, sweep it under the rug, and then come back on social media for being a buzz about it. I just don't agree with that.
Amen, sister. I totally 100% agree with you. And, you know, I know that I've, you know, spoken to this issue, the whole issue of justice, which is, well, and also family dynamics. And this channel was started like kind of for 2 purposes, but issue of justice, just as big as the other reason. And I grew up in a family of law enforcement attorneys, judges, a very legally centered family. I myself went to law school and dropped out on a full scholarship because I was young and stupid. But I have always been taught, and I fully believe, and as I've seen justice at play in my own community and other communities in ways that I've just observed as a total outsider or gotten involved with by a number of means, I fully believe that our justice system demands that we are a part of it, that we hold it accountable, and it is going to work to the degree we demand that it works. Now, when there's a terrible, horrific tragedy like this that happens, you know, there's different kind of levels of victimology. You know, of course, there's the mother. My God, nobody could stand in that woman's shoes. What a horrible thing. It's a thing you certainly would not wish on your worst enemy, you know. And we don't, in my opinion, and I think you're speaking to this a bit, we don't want to harm those people. In fact, it's one of the, you know, like pillars of this channel is, I always have felt like, is I'll put content out until, you know, if it comes to the point where it's doing more harm than good, certainly, but way before that, no more Watts the Obsession channel. You know, I don't want to put things out that are harming people. I don't think anyone wants to harm those who are the victims of like, gosh, a 16-year-old girl who lost her life so soon. But that doesn't mean that justice stops there. You know, justice is something that has to be maintained for the safety of your own family, for the safety of yourself, for the safety of your community, for the safety of your, you know, whatever kind of organization or community structure that you live in. It has to be maintained. And I think that it's okay for us to demand it. I go further than that. I believe as a citizen of the United States, I wholeheartedly believe it's my responsibility to demand it in an informed way.
Without demanding it, the entire system crumbles.
Exactly.
You know, and I totally agree with you. And in that instance, yes, you have a very delicate situation with a family that just lost a child. I cannot imagine for one, even for law enforcement, the immense burden that investigating a case like that. I mean, how do you look a mom in the face and give her those details? You know, however, you know,
well, law enforcement didn't have to look a mom in the face and give her those details.
Right.
Well, I mean, they did, but they didn't because
they did,
but
anyway,
they didn't. Right.
But
yeah.
And not just this case specifically. I'm just
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
You know, and I just can't imagine. I can't imagine the burden and, you know, going to sleep at night. I would never stop thinking about the look in their eye, you know, and I understand that you are working for that family, but you also, in and of itself, work for the public. And for these district attorneys.
You take an oath to protect and serve. That's right.
Yes. And these police departments and these sheriffs, like these bumbling investigations, these catastrophic fumbles, it cannot continue like this. And it's like the bigger the case, the more it fumbles. And so then you're questioning everything. Can you trust local law enforcement? You know, and I hate, I'm not a non-police person. I fully support the police, but some of these things in the last few years, these big cases, it's just absurd, you know, like these Mickey Mouse rookie mistakes by really, and it just makes you wonder, how can this be? What is the reason for this? And then you're surprised that social media has just gone off the rails. Well, what else is the expectation?
Exactly. That is I am so glad you came up. This is such an important conversation and such a good point. Can you stay up here for another couple minutes?
Oh, girl, yeah, I'm
How's
here.
baby doing? Awesome.
We're cruising.
Now, woohoo! She's getting a little snoozy. It's all good. So now, something I wasn't sure if I was going to bring into this stream. The other evening, I came across this video. I'm going to be honest. I have mixed feelings because I definitely do not want to send people to this person or the person that we're going to have to take a look at after this. But I also, I cannot not speak about this. So I had heard this creator, we're going to watch a moment of in a moment and get your barf bags close by because it's disgusting material. Somebody had said something. I just had heard a little bug in my ear, something like, oh, you know, Ryan Upchurch, like, you know, gave like the thumbs up to this guy, and I was like, what? How could he have possibly done that? So then I started looking for where the hell did Ryan Upchurch like give this guy a go? And then the material I came across after that was equally as disturbing. Now, it is in a different way than what we are discussing can happen when law enforcement does not do their job. Obviously, there is a huge, blatant, overt void and, you know, blemish that starts to deteriorate the very justice system upon which we rely for our basic freedoms every single fucking day. But also, things like this, I think, can happen. Bear with me. Nothing disgusts me more than something like this when I see a YouTuber doing this.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to mute myself if it takes me a minute to respond. You guys can hear my clicker, I'm sure.
You got it, girl. You got it.
I caught wind of Kiely Rodni coming up missing on September the 7th, 2022. 2022. Today is September the 14th, 2022, and it's 2:15 in the morning. I will upload this video around 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning today. But let me tell you a fact about the Kiely Rodni situation.
Hi,
This is a
Nelda.
fact. This is not what I think. When the Venture with Purpose found her body in the water, she was wearing that bikini. But that bikini had been ripped and pulled up like this, pulled up. Based on the fact that they found her body like that, I have concluded, in my opinion, that she was raped multiple times. The whole intent of getting Kiely Rodni to the party was to have her drunk, drugged, and raped and murdered. Who orchestrated that? In my opinion, based on the information and belief, Samantha Smith orchestrated this.
What? Oh, I know, Kevin. You know that was coming. Kevin, when I first saw this the other night, I was on fire. The couple people that had the pleasure of texting me that night. Whoops. Yeah, I know, right? What? So we're never gonna listen to this again. And this guy is so gross. Now I've just got to tell I'm gonna play you one more time what he said, and then I'm writing him off for life. It was a few days ago. I don't know, maybe it started like a week ago. I don't know, sometime in the past 10 days. There were several consecutive days, all right, when people were commenting on my videos or even sending me emails, sending me direct messages, asking me about what this guy was saying as though it was legitimate. And hey, listen, if you're one of those people, I'm not blaming you. You are not the sick person who decided to put this bullshit out there for whatever reason. People were actually taking this and people like him seriously. I don't like this person either. We're going to listen to that 10 seconds, 15 seconds one more time, and then we are getting rid of him for life. And there's, of course, a point to this. If you need to see this again, please come to this video. Do not give this man a click, a view, a nothing.
I caught wind of Kiely Rodni coming up missing on September the 7th, 2022. Today is September the 14th, 2022, and it's 2:15 in the morning. I will upload this video around 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning today. But let me tell you a fact about the Kiely Rodni situation. This is a fact. This is not what I think. When the Venture with Purpose found her body in the water, she was wearing that bikini. But that bikini had been ripped and pulled up like this, pulled up. Based on the fact that they found her body like that, I have concluded, in my opinion, that she was raped multiple times. The whole intent of getting Kiely Rodni to the party was to have her drunk, drugged, and raped and murdered. Who orchestrated that? In my opinion, based on the information and belief, Samantha Smith orchestrated this. Now,
so we're not even going to go any further into it. In fact, I'm going to take him off because he doesn't even deserve to be on my channel. But the point is, I'm sorry, Capricious. I'm not going to answer the question just because I don't want to do anything to help this man get any views, clicks, or otherwise. Like if you were to look at his views, clicks, several of my subscribers brought this to my attention, that, you know, he had like a couple hundred views or whatever. And then he started spewing out this garbage about the Kiely Rodni case, saying that, now listen, this is fact. This is fact, guys. It's not fact. It's not fact at all. Oh, we lost our awesome guest. Come back up if you want to, girl. Here, I'm going to give her the link again. She might be gotten babysitting stuff going on. We're not going to answer. Please don't anybody answer who is this. I'm sorry, but if you need to know, you can go ahead and, I know I'm not trying to, I just don't want to do anything to help this man. He's disgusting. I literally cried over this video. You can email me there. I'll tell you privately who it is. Okay. So now what I want to do is to relate this back. Kevin's like, I'm getting out of Dodge. Relate this back to this idea of law enforcement just releasing, as our guest just, said really well, just these little breadcrumbs, just kind of enough to like keep people going, almost just enough where if we decide we need to, or we want to change directions, we're going to be able to do that. That might not be what's going on, but that is the feeling that you get. Now, when you're releasing only this little teeny tiny bit of information, and there's all of this speculation that's going on, hear me out here. Oh, good. Sis Fish is back in his house. We're happy for that.
Yeah. Oops. Sorry.
I know. It happens all the time. So what I was just saying, tell me what you think. So when you're just releasing, as you said, these little tiny breadcrumbs of information, and that there's all of this speculation going on, and that this case, this story is gaining national, international, epic attention, spotlights. Everybody's looking at it. Everybody's listening. Yes, of course, if you're law enforcement, if you have integrity, you want to be careful of your next step because you want to roll everything out right. Well, we know that's all gone to hell. So what's your plan B? You're going to just continue to release these breadcrumbs of non-information to leave these information vacuums out there where assholes like this can go and fill it in with their whatever that was.
Yeah. Well, and that seems to be, my biggest issue is because when you have these big fumblings, take the, I just don't even know that I want to speak on whatever that was, but like Brian Laundrie, for example, we know exactly where he is. We're monitoring. We have eyes on the house, like da-da-da-da-da. And then he just sneaks out under their nose. And they have no explanation for how that happened, why they didn't catch it. And so it makes, they tell you, we have eyes on him. We know exactly where he is. And when it turns out that they then don't, how can you believe anything else? And that's where the mistrust comes in and the speculation just goes wild, because even if something is actually factual, you can't believe anything because your trust has been broken.
That's exactly it. And I know that, as, this day and age where we have social media, we have all of these different venues where, this information is being disseminated, where law enforcement can go and put their 2 cents in, they can put official word out through all of these different avenues. Likewise, people can also, spread rumors and total non-facts and lies and BS like that through these very same venues. I feel like at some point, and this really is, definitely a bigger, picture question here, but I think for the most part, we're asking bigger picture questions as we're watching all these things go wrong with all these investigations. At what point does law enforcement have a responsibility to address the misinformation and the information vacuums that I feel oftentimes they're allowing to happen, or sometimes they're feeding the fire so that fire is set ablaze and continues to burn due to their lack of putting out anything substantiated, or that sometimes they can even back up themselves. I mean, it's getting truly nauseating.
And I think if the families, and this is, I literally almost hate myself for even saying this or feeling like I need to say it, but these families are going through just the most traumatic thing, and it's not, something that they're going to get over ever. And so I don't want to say this like I'm speaking for them, because thank you God, I have no idea how that feels for something tragic or heinous to happen to someone I care about. However, I do wish that there was a way to say it that they understood. It's not just this case. There is a bigger picture. There is a bigger problem with the way these stories are being narrated to the public, the way that huge details are just completely missed and overlooked. And then we're all made to look like we're sitting around with our tinfoil hats on, making Venn diagrams. And that's not the case for the majority.
That was such a beautiful image.
You know what I'm saying? I think
Yeah,
I
no,
do agree.
absolutely.
There are these wackadoo creators that just say like the most outrageous, outlandish things. However, that's not the majority by any stretch. And I think most of us understand that when you hear something crazy, we want to know where are the facts, what was the source, where are you getting this information? And the majority of us just want to have an honest conversation. And it's not unlike what law enforcement themselves do. You have to put the pieces together. What makes sense? How could this be? That's how cases are investigated. You take what you know, you take the people that are involved, the people that were close to, where the victim's last seen, and you try to find what makes sense. That's literally how investigations are conducted. So, yes, we're not law enforcement. Creators are not, any type of official law enforcement, but they're not the majority that are having these honest conversations aren't doing anything outside of what these detective departments are doing. So I think that to come down, and what's even more frustrating for me is that they're all watching social media, and you hear these cases and stuff. So are you watching social media just so you can come out and bash the people that are discussing it in an honest way? Or are you watching to find details or a hunch or something you hadn't thought of before? Because that's what I think it is. That's what I would do.
Now, Suspicious, you may or may not know this, but for anyone who's watching who doesn't know this story, I'm going to tell you this little story about the channel CDT. The creator's name is Kelly also, so it's Crime Discussion Today, CDT.
I know her. Yep.
Yeah, she's wonderful. Love her. Yeah, know her channel.
I stand.
So it was one of the very few live streams I actually had the honor of being at. She usually does her live streams during the day. I'm usually at work. I don't know. I just don't catch them. It was quite a while ago. It was like over a year ago. My channel was very, very young. So I've told this story before on this channel, and she will say, "Oh yes, I totally remember that." And Amber Truth Seeker was coming up. That's what she was called at the time. And Kelly from CDT was like particularly nervous, and she was explaining like, guys, listen, I'm just really freaking nervous. I know Joan and some other people, DC, maybe you guys were there too. She had requested a copy of the Watts discovery files. I believe that she previously had a copy, or she was getting the information somewhere, but she, at some point, whatever, requested a new copy of the discovery files. So she was telling everybody how, she was just, when you get a discovery that's all, there's so many digital files, they come in little bits and pieces. There's like, thousands of little downloads basically. So each supplement plus the supplemental material is a separate download. So there probably is close to 1,000. So she was just going through and downloading various things, and she came across this one thing that she had downloaded, and it just said cup files, CUP, cup files. Yes, ATS News now, that's right. So cup files like this. And this is what really spooked her out. She had noted that she had never seen this cup files folder in any previous renditions of the Watts case discovery. She probably, I don't remember exactly how the story went down, but I believe she, probably talked to Amber and some other people. Hey, do you know what this file is all about? Maybe not wanting it to corrupt her own files, or I don't know, whatever. She eventually looked at it and she took people through it. I've got to find this live stream so I can put the link for you guys. There were pictures. It was all straight from Weld County. Pictures of like internet sleuths. Like there was a Big Mad True Crime, one of my favorite crime podcasts. Amber the Truth Seeker saw a picture of her own television where she was showing something on a live stream on her own television in her own living room that was in these cup files. Some of your favorite YouTube creators, screenshots from their channel was in these cup files. It was all information that had been gathered from somebody who was in law enforcement to the degree where they can create a secure file that's going to be disseminated through a case's discovery files. Had it appeared to be the sole mission of perving around social media, true crime tubes, and seeing what it was they could find. It was truly eerie. crazy stuff. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm going to go back and find that of her live stream. So I'll ask her.
Super strange. I do follow CDT. I do not recall ever seeing that, but you know,
yeah, it was over a year ago. I'm going to find her. I'm going to reach out to her. I'll have it up. I'll put it in the community post in the next 48 hours here. So you guys can go see it for yourself.
For that, because
Yeah.
I'm super curious. And, you know, like I've always said, you know that they're watching social media. And again, I wonder, one of the two things I've said, but I also almost, and not to have my tinfoil hat back on, but, you know, when you have to wonder if everything you're being told is truth or fiction.
Right.
Are you watching what people are saying? Are you looking at the questions people are asking so the narrative can be further controlled? You know, and again, back to what I was saying with, you know, victims before.
Yes.
I've seen, you know, I hate even to say their name, but the Ruchek family.
Wait. Hold your thought for a second. I gotta break into chat 1 minute because there's a little thing going on. I think I understand it though. So listen, Kezchik and Yamaha here. So I think I understand what Yamaha is saying, Kezchik, and I think I can also understand how it would come off wrong. Kevin, I want to be a cowboy bashnik, pulled this on me the other day when we were like texting. I text him that clip of that dude that I just played that I'll never play again. And he responds with something like, well, that's exactly why, something about this is why we have to have the First Amendment. And I was like, what? I had like a few words to say to him right away, but his whole point was when I calmed down and like read it, I was like, okay, wait, there's like he's making a different point than what I'm anticipating here, which I think is what's going on with you guys. That's all I'm saying, guys, is that if we have the First Amendment, people can say whatever they want within this, certain legal range. And now Kevin, I want to be a cowboy bashnik. He's saying to me, no, I don't ever want to listen to this person again. Right. So between you two there, I think that's the conversation that's kind of trying to happen. So I'm sorry, suspicious. I like peace on my channel. I just had to.
No. I'm in your house, so do you?
No, all good. But I want to hear what. So you were going back to the victims and.
Well, just victims and families, and yeah. I don't even like to say their name because what they've been through, I just can't even imagine. And I don't want this to be taken in a negative way, but the Ruchek family, for example, mm-hmm. they come down so heavily on social media, what's being said, what questions, just let it be. That's what they want. And from their perspective, I 1,000% can understand that. But from everyone else's perspective, like her, dislike her, agree, disagree, I think every woman in the world can see a little bit of themselves in Shanann, whether it's struggling in a relationship, being a mother of multiples, balancing work, life, home,
absolutely,
having to put on a brave face to take care of business when you're struggling inside with these. Everyone, there's
that's
just
so right. You're doing it right now. You're driving your kid around so your kid can get some sleep and like participating in something that has to do with social media that's interests you. We all do it for sure.
And the thought that something like that could happen to me and my babies, my unborn, and there's all these question marks. There's all these unanswered questions, and there's just no answers from law enforcement, and it leaves the public to think that there's more to it. There's possibly other people involved, and they don't care to investigate it. And the thought of something happening like that to me, my sister, my mother, my friend, my colleague, and they just sweep it under the rug, and this person's just out in the world, people, who knows? That is unacceptable to me. And I just don't understand why law enforcement doesn't understand. From an investigative perspective, yes, protecting an investigation, but even that case, for example, the average first-degree murder case has a discovery on average of 8,000 to 10,000 pages. There's 2,700 for 4 people.
Yeah, that's
that
right.
Just doesn't make sense. So
that's right. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, it's exactly. That's what people, oh gosh, don't even get me started on that. People,
I
they're like,
know.
wow, 1960 pages, the first, whoops. Oh my God. Putting
That's
out of that
nothing.
was it's nothing. Yeah, it's nothing. And considering
nothing.
it was a quadruple homicide and oh my God. Yeah. It's,
Yes.
I think given how, like DC Primetime is saying the rules have changed. I'm not sure what that was specifically in relationship or relative to, but that's right. The rules have changed. So, why would we say, well, okay, yeah, the rules have changed, man. Look at how fast life is evolving. Everything is changing. Technology, the way we live, the way our communities are, the way we raise our children, everything is changing. Why should law enforcement not be ahead of those changes? We certainly shouldn't be making up excuses for them to be lagging behind when they're the ones who are making oaths to serve and protect.
They should be at the top. They should be at the very top of their game. And anything else is unexcusable. You take like LA, for example, the police department gets 56% of the entire city budget. 56% goes to just the police department. And so you take these huge amounts of money. Being behind isn't an excuse. And people need to get with the program. You elect the sheriff. You elect the DA.
That's right.
Hold them accountable or vote them out.
That's right. That is exactly right. And that is, oh, I just love you, Sis Vicious. That is one of them. I mean, that is the reason for so many things that should be happening and hopefully are happening. But when people say, oh, you can't talk about this or that on YouTube, you can't talk about this true crime or that aspect of true crime. And I promise you, I feel for these victims' families with all of my heart. And I've done things in theory and reality and otherwise to support them. And I will continue to. What I can do is small, but I will always do that at least. So in spirit, so I'm connected to them in that way. I do not want to harm them. There is no group of people in this world that need to be harmed any less than those who have lost a loved one to a horrific tragedy like this. My God, it's terrible.
But they deserve better than their case and their story being left on a giant cliffhanger. They deserve.
That is exactly it. That's exactly it. And it pains me that there are voices that are speaking out against people like us or creators like this channel who truly want to be part of our justice system working well, who truly want to be part of ensuring justice for all victims who no longer have a voice. The people create this false narrative to speak out against, I'm just going to say us is representing a group of people. It's not, there's nothing to speak out against. We're doing our part as citizens of our society. And in my opinion, and what I see from the outpouring of love from so many people towards these families, like Kylie's moms, towards the R family, people just want to support them. It is a false, it's a fake foe that people create to say, oh, you shouldn't be talking about this. We have to silence them. It's, you're attacking the victims' families. Hell no, that's the last thing we're doing. The last thing we're doing.
Exactly. I think too, I kind of categorize it a little, in my mind, I guess in the YouTube space, I kind of feel like there's two categories. There's the true crime, which is a little more finite cases that don't have so many holes in it. Something in the past, there's been a apprehension, arrest, conviction, those sorts of things. And then you have current crime where these cases are ongoing. And that seems to be where all the chaos sort of surrounds. And I realize it's new and fresh.
Sure.
But in an effort to protect investigations, I would even be okay with law enforcement saying, hey, we know that there's a lot of questions surrounding this topic. We are aware of it. It is part of the investigation. We do have an answer, or we haven't found the answer yet, but we will release that information to the public.
Because there's no harm in saying that. There's no harm in saying that. That's why there's an investigation,
Exactly.
So yeah.
But address it, and then this chaos and this excuse my language, but fuckery that happens where it just absolutely goes off the rails. But the way that these cases have been handled, there's no avoiding it. And I don't know why that's so hard to understand for law enforcement. I don't want to go off the rails here on your channel, but
go off the rails, girl. I'm with you. I'm like, amen.
When I really started getting upset by this, there was a case that very, very close to where I live, and I actually met the person that was apprehended in a weird exchange. There was a girl. She'd gone missing, and I don't live in a very large area currently. So if someone goes missing, it's a big, everyone knows about it. Oh, everyone knew her, right?
Sure.
I didn't. I'm not from here, but a lot of people did. A lot of people I knew did. And so when I heard where she went missing from, I was like, oh, I used to go there all the time. That's weird. Very safe, very secluded place. It's just a little riverfront. People fish, swim, hang out, party, whatever. But it closed at dusk. You couldn't be there after dark. And there was a very heavy police presence always surrounding that area for whatever reason. This girl goes missing. They end up, the FBI, one of the local FBI field offices got a tip. There was a picture of her in a cage, undressed.
Oh.
And it was from the dark web, right? So they get this tip. They ended up running it through and matched her to a missing person and end up finding these people. This case, the way the sheriff handled it was appalling. They ended up finding the two that did it, arrested them, went into their house. I don't want to say anything too explicit about it, but
whatever you feel comfortable with is. I trust.
Well, I'm on your channel. I just don't want to go too crazy. But they found photos of her on their cell phones. They had her on a gantry crane,
oh my God,
a deer. They found her in the freezer, packaged up. And law enforcement, it was horrifying. And law enforcement was constantly, not even, there was like local groups discussing it, trying to figure out what was going on, and they weren't releasing any details. Now you take a case like that.
Now this happened in your community?
Yes, and I met the guy that did it down at the river. He would always come down there. He used to give me the creeps, but not run fast away from this person. I was like, man, that guy's kind of weird, but he stayed in this little cabin. He was always with his dog. He had no running water up there because he was always coming down to get water, but I used to fish there. And when it happened, I was like, oh my God. And anyone that went there 100% knows this guy. It was the closest house to the water crossing.
Holy cow.
Yeah, terrifying. So they go to his house, they arrest him and his little accomplice person, right? They search the house. Now, they claimed the first thing that I would do if I was in law enforcement, I would be thinking, well, this probably isn't the first time this happened, right?
Oh my God.
That's a dramatic murder. They were gone in 2 days. Then the house gets burnt down. Okay. They ended up having to call in a bomb squad because one of the volunteer firefighters found a tripwire on the property. After all of that, law enforcement comes out and says there's no one else involved. Are you serious?
What?
They were already in jail. These two guys were already in jail. The house catches fire mysteriously. You find a tripwire. Now, if you search that property thoroughly, let's just say the tripwire was there. How did you not find that? And the sheriff went off the rails.
And how convenient for me, because these two guys are in jail. They're like, we've already packaged it up nice with a bow.
Yep. The sheriff came out and said that people on social media needed to stay at home with their box wine, eating Cheeto Puffs, and leave the investigation to the professionals. Released a statement. It was in the newspaper. Now, again, you take something like that. There's so many questions. You're not telling anybody anything. So many people know this girl. So many people know the guys that you've arrested. And there was just so many questions. The address, a Google search of the address, there was 30 people that had ties to that specific address. So it's like, what is happening here? How does
I
this
mean, and
happen
those
in
are
a
very
community of
basic
20,000 people?
issues. Yeah, those are very
Huge.
basic issues of, I mean, first of all, I mean, healing your community in the sense of healing your community from like rapidly developing PTSD. I mean, this is like really seriously sick stuff. They're
So
like law
crazy.
enforcement had so many critical roles in that particular crime as they do in all of them, but that one really brings it home. I mean, for them to just kind of like throw their hands up, oh, we got it, no one else involved here. I mean,
It was like they were angry
oh,
that people had questions. And again, this happens so close to home. People are
oh
horrified. People are scared. Again, after the tripwire thing happened, it's like
yes.
everyone was saying, well, there's got to be more people involved, like terrified, right?
Yeah.
And just, basically berating people for even having a concern, like they just really have it under control. Well, clearly you don't. And,
No.
again, these huge fumblings by law enforcement, these breadcrumbs that they leave, and then we can't figure out why the public, why the community, why the people that live. And the only reason I brought this up is because I live here and it's still ongoing now to this. I mean, they haven't even been convicted yet.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Wow.
you have these things happen, and in this area, it was a huge story. And it's like, you have to give people something, even if you want to address the main questions, the main concerns that people have. We're not sure if more people are involved. The investigation's ongoing. Something, but you're berating people for asking questions. You're treating them horribly for being concerned, making these
That's
outlandish
right.
statements like everyone is in the wrong. And again, you're a public servant. Wouldn't you want people to feel safe? Don't you want people to feel like you have it under control?
Yeah, absolutely. And the way that you're just describing law enforcement in this particular instance, and this is a way that I end up sort of kind of envisioning them when I hear about a lot of different scenarios. What they like put out to the community, then kind of take it away and only give them so much. It's almost like abusive in nature. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's almost like abusing their power. Well, hell yeah. But it's almost the way like an abusive relationship functions. It's
Gaslighting.
really twisted. That's like, wow.
It is. You gaslight the public. And what's so unfortunate, especially in the current crime community on YouTube, is the public is gaslit to the point
Yes.
that so much time has passed. There's another case that everyone is stuck on, and all the questions from the one before just dissolve,
Right.
into the year before, and then life just goes on, and they skate past without ever answering the tough questions. And I'm so
That's right.
tired of that, because again, what happens when it happens to your family? I'm not
That's
okay with
right.
that.
That's right. That is right. That's right. And that's why, well, here, Watts the obsession of all places, when people, come at me, come at us saying, oh, I can't believe you're still talking about this. This has been closed. This has been closed. You're just torturing the family. No, none of that has anything to do with anything. This case has not been fully investigated. This case has barely been investigated. This case hasn't really been investigated. When this case was investigated and evidence was collected, it wasn't analyzed in many cases. It was straight up refused. There are just certain cases where I feel like if we don't continue to carry the torch for those victims and for the justice that we all want to live under, then what do we have in the end? I mean,
it's like saying they just don't matter. And I love your
right,
Watts
exactly.
content, by the way. I haven't said
Thank
that
you.
yet, but I really
Thank
do.
you. I
I go through and I
appreciate
just
that.
watch them. I'll
Thank
be
you.
cleaning my house, and I just listen to it. And you're just so
That's so
thoughtful and
funny.
intuitive, and I really
Oh,
appreciate the work
that's
that you put
exactly
in
what
for
I
that.
do with
But
my Watts content. People are always like, yeah, I'm like cleaning the house. I'm like, yes, I'm the house cleaning channel. I love it.
I love it. Every couple hours, my daughter's napping, I can just go through, and I'm like, yeah, and it really gets
That's great.
my mind going. I love it. But I don't disagree with you at all. And the families, law enforcement, I 100% get their point of view. But when you have a press conference, when you have who ends up being the perpetrator on the news, it's no longer just your story. It's no longer just your case. It's a matter of public interest. And when the public has questions, you can't get mad at them, because as long as you're seeking answers and tips, oh heavens, all the people that want to call or know something, saw something, heard something, hit us up. But the second that you have what you need and people still have their questions answered, well, then you're the SOB. I don't subscribe to that. That's just not.
Well, hey, that brings up a really good point. And I think it's yet to be seen how this is going to unfold for law enforcement in the Kiely Rodni case. So law enforcement, you're probably not listening, but maybe you are, because we know that you watch YouTube. So please listen up. When, law enforcement or a district attorney or the investigators start to, huddle around and, put this message out there where almost like they're protecting the family, a la DA Rourke in the R family, right? Then there's a problem, because that is not, yes, although we want our investigators, of course we want our district attorney to have human qualities and have compassion and be able to relate to people. Hopefully that's why we put them in the position that they're in, that right? But when they feel the need to start huddling around and protecting the family, kind of holding their hand up, creating these false enemies, that are apparently against the family because they're asking questions towards the goal of justice, that is a real problem. So I just like that just came to front of mind to me with what you're saying is what I'm going to be looking for next.
I almost forgot we were just talking about, or this stream was for the Kiely Rodni case. So my apologies for veering into every other direction.
This case was an intentionally ambiguous thumbnail.
One thing I find uncomfortably convenient is that you have the sheriff, the coroner, and the county. I think it's either the county or the city administrator is all the same person.
Yes.
That's problematic.
Yes.
That is hugely problematic.
That is hugely problematic. And you said you live in a small community.
Oh, I'm talking about the Kiely Rodni case.
But but I was saying, but you yourself live in a small community, right? Yep. And you don't see that within your small community even,
no,
right?
One thing you do see is someone not running against the person that someone will get voted in by default. But how can you have 3 different offices being held by the same person? Are they collecting 3 salaries? That's such a conflict of interest.
That's a clear conflict of interest. And, the community I live in, I don't know, it's maybe like, at this point, 6,000 people in the place. I don't want to give too much more information on that, but there is clear separation between all of these different positions that you're mentioning, and it has to be that way. And any other way is illegal. And I mean, it's beyond shady. It's illegal. So what system of checks and balances did they not have in place in this? I need to look. I really need to look more into just the structure of how they're governing there. We all do.
I don't know that they are. It's like, you know, Uncle Ronnie's governing, but it's,
Uncle Ronnie's governing.
You know what I mean?
But I live in the Uncle Ronnie's governing community, and we don't even do that
here. They don't even do that here. What is happening? And again, too, and I'm not saying on this person specifically, but we've all seen and heard there was a shady sheriff in town. We've all seen and heard a coroner's report was manipulated for this reason or that. An autopsy report, doesn't make sense. How is the lead investigator also the person doing the autopsy and also the city administrator that's overseeing to make sure all these other jobs are being fulfilled? That their duties are being fulfilled by the oath that they take to serve and protect. It's just Control Alt Delete. I can't with that. That is too convenient. And again, with Kylie's case specifically, I'm not saying that they're fomenting malfeasance per se, but it leaves the question, or it leaves the possibility on the table, and that alone is unacceptable in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, let's see. Yamaha Biker does make a good point here. She says that, and pertaining to this case and all cases, I don't even know if it was what about you were saying or something in chat here, but this is something I was researching recently, specifically in California, because it's different in every different state, different jurisdictions. Yamaha Biker says coroner and medical examiner are two different things, and that is true. And I was actually working this into a video that I'm going to be uploading soon, but the medical examiner really is, is looking at the medical aspects and dispensing the true medical evidence-based findings. In the coroner, it's more of just like a representative jurisdiction over the remains for a time being. Is that how you understand it, Yamaha Biker? Okay, good. Yeah. So it can get pretty detailed.
I thought the coroner, though, was basically in the chain of command. I thought the coroner was over the medical examiner. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's why I thought it was the biggest.
So this is again going to be from what I understand, this is going to be something that's going to be different from state to state and even possibly jurisdiction to jurisdiction within a state. Okay. Even the way a medical examiner's findings or their whole process is handled will be held in different regards, certainly from state to state and sometimes jurisdiction to jurisdiction. For example, I always bring it back to the Watts case, but that's just a case I know very well and that a lot of you know well too.
Girl, same. Yeah.
There was, the question for better or worse.
I know it.
So there was a question of, a lot of people will inaccurately say that, the judge did not allow for a defense representative to be present at the autopsies. Well, that's not the case. What the judge's ruling was that, okay, the medical examiner has exclusive jurisdiction over the autopsy. That's what they do. Isn't it a really great thing that we attorneys and judges and bailiff are not in, the medical examiner's room trying to perform an autopsy because we wouldn't know what to do, right? So what they do there is what they do there, and what we do in a courtroom, I'm not going to inject my courtroom stuff into their very technical, scientific autopsy procedure because there's no place for that in an autopsy room, which to some degree should perhaps be held sacred. There was a little bit of a tone to that even. But it wasn't saying that no, a defense representative cannot be present per se on its face. It was that no, we're not going to insert all of our legalese into what's happening in the medical examiner's room because it's not for us to be there. For our time to do our thing is through litigation, and that's where I will rule upon matters of litigation. An autopsy in and of itself is not a matter of litigation. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing.
I have seen cases, though, where the lead detectives I don't know about the prosecutor or judges, but I have seen where detectives are present during autopsies. And
yes.
I think is inappropriate.
Okay, now don't misunderstand me. There was a whole slew of people that did not have to do with medicine present at that autopsy. Now, I'm not even injecting my own personal view on that. I'm just trying to clarify what the judge's decision was. Well, so the judge's decision ended up being a little contradictory because there was a whole lot of people who were on the side of the state's investigators there. Mm-hmm. So in there lies a whole, oh my God, we could talk about it for like years. Obviously we are. But yeah.
Yeah, so I just think that's inappropriate. I
think
it
is too.
For anyone to be present outside of the examiner, any assistant that is necessary, that anyone else is inappropriate.
And perhaps if there was like one person, let's say we all know Tammy Lee, say if somebody from, that side of things, the prosecution side of things was there, whether it be DA Rohr's little sidekick or Tammy Lee or whoever, but I can't remember the number of people that were there, but it felt like a disrespectful number of people to me.
Yeah.
So there's my opinion on that.
But in the crusade of justice, I think if you have the detectives prosecutors, anyone from the state present outside of the medical's office, then you are giving whoever defendant a disadvantage if their defense attorneys aren't allowed to be present. And I think in an effort for it to be fair, you can't have one or the other. It has to be both or none, in my opinion.
And therein lies the paradox, or shall we say the contradiction, or the lack of consistency in this ruling, but yeah.
Oh, what a headache.
Oh, I don't know. Well, listen, you know what? I'm going to actually have to wrap this up because I've got to be at work in the morning. So it's midnight 30 here. So I'm going to get a nice 6 hours of sleep. But thank you so much for coming up here. It's been no, you were wonderful. And you and DC Primetime, who came up here earlier, I just want you guys to know in comments, people are giving you guys great feedback. They love to hear from you. So thank you so much for coming up. I would love for you to come up anytime. I think you had wonderful things to say and a lot of food for thought. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
in
I
the
hope
future,
your
though, you have
community
to cut
heals
me
from that
off because I just
tragedy.
don't stop. I really
No,
won't stop
my God,
talking.
I love it. I was hanging on every word, honest to God. And I hope your community heals from that horrific tragedy that happened.
Gosh.
You know,
if you want a rabbit hole, I should email you because it is just
please do.
I mean,
I
wild.
would,
if you want something else to
I would love to look into. If you wouldn't mind here, it's Watts Obsession. I'm putting it in chat right now. I would love to hear from you. I would definitely love to look in that.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. It's so not talked about, but it's one of those cases where I just don't see
Sounds
how
like
it
should be talked about.
Become a bigger story. Insanity. So I'll email you if you want to look into it. And
please do.
But thank you.
Thank
you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Very,
so thanks for coming up. We have a new panel friend,
you.
everybody. We love Suspicious. And hope her 3-year-old is sleeping.
She is. I was going to tell you anyway. I'm going to have to hop off because my honey's going to help me sneak her inside.
Aww. Well, God bless you and your family and your community. Definitely shoot me an email. We hope to have you back on sometime soon.
Yeah. I will. Well, I'll keep listening. I'm just going to hop off. So thank you for letting me
take care, love. Yeah.
Bye.
Awesome. How great was she? Really great stuff. Awesome stuff to think about. Great guest. And thank you also, DC Primetime. You were wonderful as well. Everyone in chat too. You guys are amazing. And Sarah T and Midge Elkins, thank you for what you were saying. You are so loved and appreciated over here. And I always want what's good for you guys. Good for your mind, good for your heart, good for your soul, right? Hi, Muck Boys. How are you doing? Speaking good for your mind, good for your heart, good for your soul. So, Muck Boys, I have been terrible on email. Kezchik, Muck Boys, I owe so many people an email. And you know what? I'm going to get off and email both of you actually, because you're right here in front of me, and I owe you guys, and I want to talk to you. So yeah, please do hit the like and subscribe button on your way out. If you're not a subscriber, please do hit the bell so you get future notifications from this channel whenever we have a live stream chat and discussion. I think this one was pretty great. Thank you for everyone who participated. Thank you to all of you guys who are watching. And thank you for dealing with my sniffles and kind of froggy voice because I've got a cold. So, all right, guys, everyone, love you guys. Be safe. We'll have another live stream again. What is it, Monday? Going into Tuesday now? In the next couple days. So I hope to see you guys here. Oh, yeah, Muck Boys. I just caught 80s. I don't know, was it yesterday? I think it was when you were on panel for a little bit. Jody is cool. Just saying, great work on panel over in 80s, Muck Boys. I definitely hope to catch more of that too. Awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. So if you're still there, Muck Boys, was that tonight or last night? What night should I be looking for on the 80s live stream that you were on? Maybe you're on a couple times, but if there's a specific live stream, please let me know.